Okay, so for those of you who just joined, again, my name is Lisa Swago. I am the ListHub Training Manager, and this is the ListHub Web Training for William E. Wood and Associates. So I thank you all very, very much for taking the time to join me this morning. I don't think you'll be disappointed. We're going to cover a lot of good information about the ListHub tool that your company has invested in for you. And so by the time you end today, I think you'll have a really good idea of what's available and how you can really apply it today, literally, to help you in winning more listings. This is our agenda, and so first of all, what I want to cover is the ListHub network and specifically how it works for William E. Wood and Associates. And then I want to talk about the different websites, the destination websites that your listings are going to be distributed to, and how that works with our extended network. I want to introduce you to something called the ListHub Channel Scorecard, which is really a resource that you can utilize to help you understand more about the different websites. So we'll go over that. And then we'll move into the actual nuts and bolts of your ListHub dashboard or your ListHub account, how you can register if you have not done so already. And then we'll go through the account dashboard itself. We'll walk through the tools, show you how to use them, how to download them, all that kind of good stuff. And we'll end with Q&A. Okay? And again, if you do have questions, you are more than welcome to submit them as we go along through the chat log. And if I don't get to them right away, I promise I'll get to them at the very end. All right. So ListHub, how it works. For those of you who are not really familiar with ListHub, our core business model is we are a listing syndication or a listing distribution service. And so it's our job to basically pull your listings for you and distribute them to a wide variety of real estate websites where consumers are searching for properties. And what makes our service unique is that we actually pull your listings directly from your MLS. So even though you may have worked with some listing syndication services in the past that you have to notify them if you have a new listing, or you upload your photos to a separate service or something like that, with ListHub it's really nice and convenient because you just have to get your listings into the MLS, which is something that you already do anyway, and we actually will pull any new listing information as well as any changes. If you have to drop the price or you add new photos, we pick up all of the new and edited or changed information every night around midnight, and then we basically make it available to the different websites that are in the ListHub network that William E. Wood and Associates at the company level has selected for listing distribution. And so then they pick up that data and display it for you. So it's a really great automatic way to have your listings, the most updated version of your listing out there in front of all these online buyers to see. So it's really easy and convenient and automatic. Just so you know, in terms of the different websites, the reach of your listings, they are going to be going to slightly over 50 different websites. And these 50 are what we call the primary channels, the primary publishers. And those are the ones that you're going to see on your ListHub reports, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. And those are the logos that you see here, okay? So they're going to be the major websites like Yahoo and Trulia and Zillow. But some of those websites actually power other smaller websites or different regional websites. And a couple examples, Zillow's one, I'm pointing to it here. Trulia is another. HomeFinder's another big one, actually. HomeFinder's owned by a newspaper company. And so HomeFinder.com actually powers the real estate searches for over 300 different online newspapers across the country. So, for example, if somebody were to go to the WashingtonPost.com and click on the real estate link and actually do a real estate search, they would find that the search is powered by HomeFinder, and because your listings are being distributed to HomeFinder.com, they could find your listing in the WashingtonPost.com. So that is an example of what we consider to be our extended network. And so with our extended network, as it shows here, the resulting coverage is over 900 websites. So it's huge exposure for your listings. Okay, so with that huge exposure, it's great and convenient because it's automatic, right? We're pulling from the MLS. It's happening already for you. But as you can imagine, with that many websites, there's also some challenges. What happens if you have to audit a website, or you're not sure if you have a rental property, which websites accept rental properties? Well, one of the things that ListHub added to our service this last year is something that we call the Channel Scorecard. And it's really a resource tool for you all. It's the industry's only complete report on the practices and features and attributes of these different internet real estate websites in our network. And it's really just meant to answer the questions that we've received time and time again from our real estate and, our agent and broker customers. So here are some of the questions that this channel scorecard answers. Which sites display which property types? How long does it take the site to remove an inactive listing? Or what is their data refresh frequency also? What's their tech support response time? It's just a really helpful resource in case you get questions from your sellers or just if you have questions yourself. Here is an example of what one of these scorecards looks like, and I'm going to show you where to find it in your ListHub dashboard. But this is just an example for homefinder.com. You'll see the actual website name and the URL here. Over on the left, we've got a listing features section. This is going to show you basically what information is going to display with your listing on that website. So do they display both listing agent contact information and the listing brokerage contact information? Do they accept the virtual tours that we can pull from the MLS? Do they accept your open house data? Are they social media enabled? That'll show all of that information for you. Property types. This section refers to, as I mentioned, the property types that are accepted by this website. Even though ListHub can pull all the property types from your MLS, it unfortunately does not mean that all of the sites themselves accept all property types. As a matter of fact, there's quite a variety. Most of them do accept just your, residential. But, what happens if you deal in commercial listings or if you've got an open land listing? How does that work? Well, this will tell you exactly which primary types and subtypes the site accepts. In the far lower left corner, we've got the data management section, and this refers to once this site has your listing, what are some of the things that they do with your listings, or the listing information, I should say. For example, do they provide a mobile application for consumers to utilize? That can sometimes be a great thing for added exposure. Are they one of the sites in our network that powers other websites? If so, you'll see a link here so you can actually click to view exactly which websites are in the extended network for the specific site, so you're very clear on where your listings are going. And then over here in blue, we've got a stats section, which just refers more to the data, the refresh frequency, how often, what their customer support response time is, that kind of information. So again, this is a great tool, and I encourage you all to utilize it if you have questions about the different websites, if you want to familiarize yourself a bit more with them. It's found in the Marketing Choices tab in the ListHub dashboard, but again, I'll show that to you as we go through the training. Okay, one of the other things that I want to show you is a sample flow of online traffic. One of the things that we have confusion about at ListHub is people think that ListHub is a site that consumers can go to search for properties, but that is not the case. ListHub is nothing more than a login portal when you go to listhub.com for our agent and broker customers. So ListHub is really just acting like the man behind the curtain, kind of passing your listing data from the MLS to all these different websites. And so when somebody goes to a property detail page on Trulia or Zillow or Home Finder, and they see your listing information like displayed here, ListHub is how they're getting that. So you'll see the main home photo, you'll get to see, they'll get to actually go through multiple photos. The property description will be here. Also, through ListHub, all of your properties are going to be linked back to the detail pages on williamewood.com. So for example, this little red arrow here pointing to the description, you see there's a link beneath the description there, and it says click here to learn more about this listing. I apologize, it's a little bit blurry. When somebody clicks that link, that's what we call a redirection link, and most of the websites in our network actually do provide this redirection link. I want to say all but 3. And so when a consumer clicks this link, what's going to happen is they're going to be redirected back to your detailed property page on williamewood.com. So this is a great way, just from a company standpoint, to sort of leverage all of these different websites, these national sites that consumers are familiar with and that they're going to drive more traffic back to williamewood.com, which is great. And again, the traffic will go directly to, if they're looking at your listing, 123 Main Street on Zillow, and they click that link, they're going to go back to 123 Main Street on williamewood.com, and then all of the user interface, how they can inquire about the property, all of that kind of stuff applies. Okay, so that is a bit about the listing distribution, the listing syndication, how it works, how the properties are connected back to the properties on williamewood.com. Now what I want to talk about is accessing your ListHub dashboard and the ListHub reports and tools that you can really utilize in your own business efforts as well. So let's talk about this. There are a couple different options for creating your account, and from what I've spoken to Pam, I know we've had a couple different trainings here, and basically I think that the invitations should have gone out last week. So I believe that those of you who are on the call today should have already received an invitation via email to create your ListHub login. It's going to look something like this, except it'll have your company name. It'll say invitation from William E. Wood & Associates, create your ListHub login. If you have not found that link, if you've had trouble receiving it, check your spam folder. If you can ask Pam English, she can resend the invitation for you if you're having difficulty receiving it. Please be sure that you have a couple different domain names whitelisted or on your safe senders list. I'm going to chat those out to you right now. And let's see. Just so if you're having difficulty, you'll want to go ahead and make sure those are safe senders before you have Pam resend you the invitation. The other option, if you're just really struggling, you can create your own account, what we call self-serve, just by going to listhub.com and clicking the Create an Account button in the upper right-hand corner. You'll have different registration options. You just want to select the I am a listing agent option as opposed to the option that says that you're the designated broker of record. When you click on this option, it'll take you through a series of registration screens, and you can create your account that way. It's just not quite as easy as creating the account from the registration in the email, because that registration is already tied to your inventory, whereas this account registration is not. So there's a couple extra steps you have to go through. But if you are having difficulty receiving that email, sometimes people do. Sometimes it's really easy for people to receive. So I just wanted to mention that on this training for you all. All right, once you gain access to your ListHub dashboard, once you create that username and password, you've all probably noticed it just pops you right into your dashboard immediately. And from there, it's going to look something like this. It's very basic. You probably noticed that as well. And we actually do that on purpose. You know, we don't want this to be some really intimidating new system that you have to take a long time to learn. 98% of what ListHub does for you is behind the scenes. You know, we're pushing data, we're calculating analytics for you, but we do have a couple different powerful tools that we want you to access. And those tools will be found beneath these 4 tabs. Okay, so we're going to run through each of the tabs today, but before I do, the first thing I recommend doing just right when you create your ListHub account is to add your photo to your ListHub profile, because it's going to display on a couple different places, most importantly, I think, on the individual reports that you can share with your seller clients. So to add your photo to your profile, you want to click on Settings in the upper right-hand corner, and then you want to click on User Information. That is going to take you to a screen that is going to provide you with your contact information. And most of this is already pulling through from MLS, so there's not a lot of changes that you would need to make. But you can add some information for some of the empty fields. And then also, if you scroll down, this is where you're going to see this photo space here. And if yours looks like mine and it shows no photo specified, you do want to get your photo in there. So just click the Browse button, upload your photo. For any of you who have questions about uploading photos, let me know. I can walk you through that at the end of the presentation. If you have questions about the file sizes or image types that we can accept, it shows you right beneath the field. So it's really easy. Once you actually see your photo in the photo space, you'll know you've done it right. And then there is a Save button at the bottom of the screen. So just make sure that you save your profile, and that's all you have to do to set it up. It's quite simple. And so I would just recommend doing that first thing. Okay. Next, let's talk about the ListHub reports. This is really what I'm excited about. This actually is something that William E. Wood has invested in, and that not a lot of people in your marketplace really have. And so that's why we really encourage you to utilize it, because we really think it can be a tool that can help you create a competitive advantage, or more of a competitive advantage in your marketplace. So before I actually go through and show you the reports and tools, I wanted to just share with you some of the high-level benefits that we really feel you will have with this new tool. Number one, we want to help you to get more listings, and do that by actually positioning ListHub in those listing appointments as a tool that will not only provide seller clients with great broad online exposure, but also that you're able to deliver to them the results of all of that online exposure. A comprehensive report that's going to show the exposure on all of the different properties, or excuse me, all the different websites. So that could be really great. I think a great differentiator in a listing appointment. I think sellers have come to expect these kinds of online activity reports, so you'll be able to deliver on that for them. Number two, ListHub provides you with a tool to keep in touch with your sellers over time. And we know that this is incredibly important. As you all are probably very familiar with, real estate is a business where customer satisfaction is hugely important, right? Statistically, over 50% of our business comes from repeat and referral business. So this is a huge important thing. Also, coincidentally, according to the National Association of Realtors, the #1 complaint that sellers have about their listing agent was the fact that they felt that their agent didn't communicate with them enough after the listing was taken initially. So anything that you can do to really keep that seller feeling informed, in the loop, communicated with on what you're doing for them, I think is a really great thing. And ListHub has an online activity report that you can use in this capacity, and best of all, it's you can set it up to automatically be emailed to the seller. So it's one of those set it and forget it types of tools, which I know we really love. They're getting the meaningful updates, and it's easy on you. So I'll show you how to set that up also. And then number three, we want to help you to save money as well. So one of the reports ListHub has is really designed to give you the inside scoop on which sites are working for your listings specifically. So you can, as your own marketing professional, decide where to focus your online marketing efforts, and even some offline marketing efforts based on the numbers, as opposed to just kind of shooting blindly out there. So we'll show you that report as well. Okay. So first report I want to walk through today is the individual property report, or what we call the online marketing summary. And this is a report that you can share with your seller clients. It is going to be available, a report like this is going to be available for you for every listing that you have currently, every active listing, I should say. And this report is just great because it's a one-page report. It's really easy for a seller to interpret, but it's got a lot of great data. It's comprehensive. So you're going to see here all of the different websites that the listings are being displayed on, and the number of property views and click-throughs for that listing across all of the different websites. And on my report, you see here that it shows Publisher A, Publisher B, Publisher C. These are just generic publisher names we have to use for our training or demo purposes, only because we understand that these websites are actually competitors against each other, even though they're all our partners, and so we don't want to unintentionally show any favoritism to any of the websites. So we just kind of keep them generic, but you would see on your reports, you'll see Realtor.com, you'll see Zillow, you'll see Homes.com. So just, please know that. This report will be branded. If you upload your photo in the profile, it's going to display up here. And then the main listing details your contact information, and the home photo itself are going to display pulling in automatically from the MLS. And then all the rest of these data charts here is ListHub compiling your listing, your traffic information for this listing. So a couple things I want to point out here. So many people are doing so much of their preliminary weeding out of properties online that online is where much of the activity is happening. So that's why it's really important to use this with your seller. Maybe the open house last weekend wasn't as highly attended as you would have liked it to be. Well, it's okay. You can show them this report and show them, we're still getting great numbers of online showings. Over here on the right-hand side, this information is going to be cumulative. we want you to be able to have those numbers growing and growing and be able to show that seller client all of the online activity that you've got in their home over time, you know, since it's been on the market. But then also over here on the left, there is a bar graph that represents a time snapshot. It's the last 4 weeks, and each bar represents a week of property views across all of the websites for this listing. And this is a great piece to utilize to show that seller trending information, okay? The reports really do tell a story about what's going on with this property, and the numbers don't lie. So, for example, if you notice that on this report, the bar graph, you know, each bar from week to week, you just see the views diminishing. Okay, well that could be a great indicator that a price reduction should be considered. And most likely you already know that, but it's a difficult conversation to have with your seller, right? And so what this report can help to do is already convey those numbers to them so they can see it for themselves. You know, something needs to be done to re-engage these online consumers with the property. Dropping that price is a good way to do that. So it can really help you drive those conversations just to have these numbers to support you. And also, one of the great things that William E. Wood has done is they've customized this to add the williamewood.com website metrics to these reports as well. So you're going to get to see all your traffic from the company website in addition to the different national websites like, you know, Trulia and Zillow and the like. So I think that is also not only great, it's a great differentiator as well because williamewood.com gets great traffic. So it's going to be another high traffic generator for you and a great way to differentiate your brand, I think, as well. So you will find these reports under the Inventory tab in your dashboard, okay? So Inventory tab is where you're going to see all your listings, just separated out, all of your active listings, I should say. So beneath the listing description itself, you're going to see a couple different links. And the center link is the property report link. That's the one you're going to click to get to the updated property report information, to the screen where you can actually download it, you can print it, you can email it directly from that screen, or you can schedule it to go out to your seller via email on that screen. Okay, we also retally the information every single evening, so you get refreshed data every day. Now, if you want to send this report out to your seller clients automatically, you can save yourself a click by actually just clicking this seller email link here. If you click on seller email, it's going to take you to the email template screen. This is what we need you to fill out just once for each listing for ListHub to be able to send this report out automatically. We basically need you to tell us where to send the report and how often. So there are some required fields in here. We need you to tell us the seller's first and last name, and give us the email addresses here. You can have as many email addresses as you would like to in this field. So if you want to send it to, you know, a couple, you've got a husband and wife, you're sending it to their personal email address, their work email address. Even if it's a divorced couple, you know, that's maybe the reason you got the listing, and you want to get them both the information, but you don't want them to see that they're both receiving it. The to field actually acts as it's already a VCC, so the recipient only sees their name in the to field. So just so you know. Also, you can copy yourself on it, so you're not blindsided by any questions that your seller may have for you. Also, there is a subject line, an email subject line that ListHub already has created for you in which we mail merge in the property address. And we also have a message that we've created that will display in the body of the email. We mail merge in the seller's first name for the greeting. We will mail merge in your name and contact information in the signature. So that's all taken care of. However, if you do want to edit any of that information, you are more than welcome to do so. And then we've got the scheduling section down here. So this is where you can determine if you want to send this report immediately. So you can click the Send Now button, or there is a drop-down menu where you can select a frequency for how often you want this report to go out. And currently within ListHub, it's once or twice a month. So I would recommend twice a month. Oh, wait, twice a month, once a month. This is awesome. I forgot to mention this. With William E. Wood, your sales secretaries are going to be actually implementing this auto email feature for you. So you actually don't have to worry about setting this up. they're going to actually set it up for you. The schedule is going to automatically be once a month that they're going to send it out to your clients. So if you want to maybe override that and you want to send it out twice a month, you have a specific customer who really wants it more frequently or something like that, you can always still go back into that seller email, update this email template, and just reselect the twice a month. So you can just update that information. Make sure you click the submit information or the submit button, and we'll hold those changes. But so just so you're aware, this automatic scheduling should be already happening, and you will be copied when those reports go out to your seller customers. So another great tool that we have for you to utilize to sort of freshen up your listing presentations is something we call the e-marketing flyer. And it's really just a listing presentation flyer. This is what it's going to look like, and it's a tangible. It's a piece you can use to walk into a listing presentation with, to really not only show the breadth of online exposure that you can provide this potential seller, but also on the right here, you're going to see some very recognizable, or they're going to see some very recognizable logos. And by the way, the sellers are familiar with these. These are the sites that they are going to get their information about what their neighbor's house is selling for, right, since they don't have access to the MLS. So I think that a lot of times that they're quite impressed that their listings are going to be on these websites too, that they recognize, but not only that, you know, so many more. Also over here in the lower left-hand section, we've got a Did You Know section where we pull statistics from the National Association of Realtors for you. And these statistics are really just to highlight how many buyers are searching the internet today for homes. 89% of home buyers use the internet to search for a home. That's the first statistic. 41% of buyers found the home that they actually purchased online. That's another statistic. So really, this is also an educational piece for a potential seller, right? I know that's one of the roles that you play, and so you can, from the get-go, educate them as to how many buyers are online, and that's why you have such an aggressive strategy for attracting those online buyers through William E. Wood and Associates and ListHub. So this is a great piece to use in your listing presentation, I believe. You will find it under the e-marketing tab in your ListHub dashboard. And as you can see here on the right-hand side, you are going to see these different colored box-looking things. These are the different designs that you can select for the background of this flyer. So the layout's going to remain the same, but you can click on this design on the right, and it'll change out the screen preview for you, so you can sort of see what that new design looks like. So you can select the one that you like, and then beneath each design, there are these different file types that you can download this piece in. So number one, there's a PDF format, which is the best format for printing. It'll download this file in a high-resolution PDF, so you can print out the e-marketing flyer and, you know, again, add it to your listing presentation. Or there is an HTML format, which is better for viewing, for online viewing. So it'll typically load more quickly for you. It'll have a URL strand that you can utilize for other online, online needs, I should say. All right, so those are the two that I think are client-facing pieces. You know, I encourage you to use those e-marketing flyers in your next listing appointment that you have. Feel free to also print out a sample of the reports that you have access to now to show an online activity report sample to your seller and let them know that you'll be able to share with them all the, the comprehensive results of all of this online activity. This report we're going to look at is the one that I mentioned that is really geared more to helping you save money. As a marketing professional, that with that hat on, what's the inside scoop on the information that can really help you? And this is that report. It's what we call the Agent Listing Summary Report, and it's multiple pages. I want to actually go through each of the pages with you today just to give you an idea of what we're trying to measure and some of the ways that you can use the information. So this first page, first let me back up and also say that the report that you are going to see is for your listings. If you're a listing agent and you've got 5 active listings right now, this is going to show you those 5 active listings, okay, all aggregated information, so the total information for all 5. The company is going to have reports that show all of the listings. So your office managers are going to have reports, an office-level reports, just showing all the listings for the office. The brokers will have different MLS-based reports to show So for the whole, all of the William E. Wood and Associates brokerages within a specific MLS, they can see all of the information. So you've got, even bigger numbers that I'm sure your staff will be sharing with you. But for this training purpose today, we're going to just go over the agent report that you'll see in your account. This first page is called the Executive Summary, and I actually don't want to spend a lot of time on this page. It would be a little redundant to do so. What it does is it is a summary. It rolls up and shows you the top 3 performers for each of the subsequent report pages or categories. And I'm actually going to go through those pages, so I'm not going to go over the data. But there's also some great trending information here, number of property views over the last 12 months, and the number of inquiries that have been generated from all of the different websites from your listings over the last 12 months, so they give you some good high-level numbers here. This is a great report, I think, to utilize when you're just really, really busy and you want to see a quick snapshot of the most important information you need to know. This report will do it for you. That's why it's the first page. But I want to go more into detail in the different detailed analysis reports. And so the first one here is what we call the channel comparison chart. I'm going to warn you ahead of time. I'm going to spend much more time on this report than I am with the others because this is the one that I get the most questions about, confusion on. So I want to try to preemptively answer some questions here if I can for you. So basically what this report is designed to do is to really give you an apples-to-apples comparison of all of the different websites in the ListHub network so that you can start to use that information to evaluate which websites you want to spend time either creating maybe free profiles with, or that you actually want to evaluate for what they offer for enhancement packages, featured listing packages, showcase listings. So you can really start to see which websites are performing for you, which ones are delivering the most property views, which ones are delivering the most leads, online inquiries we call them. So a couple things on this report. Again, my report's just going to show these generic publisher names. Your report will show the real website names. Now, it's important that we define what ListHub defines as a property view, a click-through, and an inquiry. And you will see these names on your individual sellers reports as well. There's a definitions page, a full definitions page on the last page of this report that you can always refer to later. But just for training purposes, in case this generates questions, I want to just go over everything with you all here. So first, the property view basically is defined by ListHub as when an online consumer does a property search on one of our publisher partner sites, they see the search results, they click on your listing in the search results, and they actually wind up on that property detail page, that sample screenshot that I showed you earlier, where they can go through the photos, they can read the description, they can typically click the Contact the Agent button from there. When they wind up on that detail page, that's what we count as a property view in our reports. Okay? So then from that property detail page, remember that redirection link that I mentioned where someone can click to get more information and they're going to be driven back to the detailed listing page on williamewood.com. When they click that link for more information, that is what we count as a click-through in your reports. They're clicking through off of one website onto williamewood.com. And though you'll notice in your reports, click-through numbers are typically much, much lower than property views numbers, and that's really just because I think of where on the websites these different partner sites place the click-through links. They're not always prominently displayed and easy to find. So even though the numbers are a lot lower, I think it's still important information to know because they denote a more interested consumer, a much more interested consumer in my opinion. They're digging for information on this property. That's a click-through. And then finally, we have inquiries, which we divide up into emails and phone views. You'll see many more email inquiries. That's just typically the way that most of the websites will send online inquiries your way. That's typically when someone contacts the Contact the Agent button. They have to fill out their basic contact information, maybe email address, phone number, submit a question to you, and they submit that form, and it's going to go to the listing agent. And it will be, you'll see it in your reports as the source of that inquiry is coming from these different websites. Phone views are a little bit different. Some of the websites actually will track if they've got your phone number, there will be a link so they can see how often the phone number is clicked by consumers. And so that's what we calculate and show you in here as phone views. Okay, so that's what we're measuring. A couple of things that might be important here. One of the things that you may notice is for those of you who get reports from like Zillow or Trulia or I think Realtor.com, some of the different websites that you may receive reports from today, the data may not match in your ListHub reports, and there is good reason for that. Some of the different websites actually many of them use different definitions for what they consider a property view to be. And again, remember, they're all competitors against each other. We know that. But for us, you're our customers, and we want to give you a really clear apples-to-apples comparison that you can utilize. And so because ListHub has a really strict definition of a property view, we only allow the websites to deliver the data to us that fits within our definition. So sometimes, you know, I know one of the websites that we work with counts their property search result views in addition to when someone clicks on a property page view, a detailed property view, as property views. So as you can imagine, that kind of hikes those numbers up quite a bit. So just so you know, that's typically why our definition of property views is different. Also, one of the things that you may notice down here only on this report is you'll see not provided or not applicable. This kind of makes some people panic, and I don't want you to panic. What this means, not provided, basically just means that the website in question is not providing the data. So for example, you know, this is my generic publisher. Publisher O is not providing property views. That just means, it doesn't mean that your listing is not getting there or that it's not being viewed. It just means that this website has not yet integrated that property views data into the ListHub reports. Sometimes that happens just because they do have to tweak it because maybe they're measuring, their definition of property views is different than ours and will only allow our definition. So just know that if it shows not provided, those should be actually changed over time with actual numeric data. If it shows not applicable, that's a little different. Not applicable means the site doesn't have the feature that ListHub needs to measure them against the other sites. So I'll give you an example. You'll notice in your reports, WilliamEwood.com under click-throughs is going to show not applicable. And I'll get a lot of questions. Why is that? Well, it's because it actually makes sense if you think about it. The click-through link is designed to drive traffic back to WilliamEwood.com. So the link is going to be on these other national sites like, you know, Zillow and Home Finder and HotPads and the others. And so we don't want to have a link on WilliamEwood.com to drive those consumers off the website somewhere, right? So there is no click-through link on WilliamEwood.com. The click-through is designed to get people to that website. So that's why it shows as not applicable. Okay. Thanks for your patience on that page. Let's go ahead and move on. This next report is what we call the Property Categories Report. And this one, I think, is helpful in a couple different capacities. Basically, what ListHub does here is we categorize your listing inventory based on 3 different property characteristics. We use price range, property type, and number of bedrooms. And so then we're going to show you the number of listings you have that fit into that category, and then the total number of views, click-throughs, and inquiries that category is generating. We line them up in terms of performance ranking, so you can see your top performer right away down to number 10. Basically, what we're trying to show you with this report is which properties in your inventory seem to be most popular with online consumers. Which ones are getting the most activity? It's important information to know because it can help you determine what types of listings to go after, right? Because going after those properties, it might be wise to go after those properties that are getting more activity because those are the ones that are likely to lead to quicker closings. Those are the properties that are likely to go to contract faster. So it's important information to know. Also, because this has data, it's really versatile. I've seen agents use this really effectively also in helping them price listings. So if you have a seller who wants you to price the property at an inflated price, you know, maybe they want a little wiggle room, and you just know it would be better off to get that, get that listing in at market value right away. Sometimes you can see here in this report that just by dropping that price a few $1,000s, it'll fall into a different pricing category. And so that category may be getting twice as many views or, a substantially larger number of inquiries or something like that. And so you can use that information, again, to drive that pricing conversation and show your seller, okay, we could price it where you'd like, but look, we could, if we've got it in at market value, we could get this many more property views, and, certainly you would think it would lead to a quicker closing. So it can be helpful in that regard. Okay, Last report we'll look at today is called the location of your online consumers. This is an online consumer map, and it's really cool information, I think. It's one of my favorite reports. We use GIS coding technology here to basically geographically pinpoint where your online listing traffic is coming from. So it's pretty cool information. So we'll show you the top 10 states as well as the top 10 cities, and we give you a map of the United States with a density graph here. So anything that is shaded, particularly dark green, is going to be where the highest concentration of people are viewing your properties from. And this report I've seen used just very creatively. It can obviously confirm whether your traffic is local or whether it's relocation based. If it is relo, where is it coming from? Do you prospect in the areas where you're getting a lot of traffic? Do you have any offline marketing or advertising that you're doing there? If it's relocation, do you have any referral partnerships? Maybe it would be worthwhile to look at forging some referral partnerships with agents in those areas. So just again, it's a great report to kind of get those creative marketing juices spinning so that you can more effectively choose where to market your properties or your market spend. Okay, this report can be found under the Reports tab. And beneath that Reports tab, you'll see it'll say Agent Listing Summary Report, and you've got these two file formats again that you can download it in. PDF file format, which is best for printing. It's going to give you those nice delineated pages, and then HTML, which is better for online viewing. One thing I will mention about HTML, I like this format because when you open it up, it's going to have something called a report control panel that shows up above the report itself, and that report control panel can be used to kind of manipulate the data on the report. For example, this report is actually, it defaults to a 30-day report. So if you were to download it today after we get off the training, you're going to see its traffic information up to today, back 30 days. Well, William E. Wood has been syndicating with ListHub for a while now. So maybe you want to look at all of the property views you received since January 1 of 2012. Well, with that report control panel, by clicking that HTML link, you can actually expand that date range. And so that's just one of the things you can do there. All right, last tab we'll go over today, and I'm going to kind of breeze through. I know we're going to run a little over here. This is the Marketing Choices tab, and this Marketing Choices tab is really just a place where you can go to verify exactly which websites William E. Wood & Associates has chosen for listing syndication. Okay, so you're going to see under the Marketing Choices tab, there are these three tabs here. You're going to want to look at the My Publisher tab. This is going to show all of the websites that have been selected, and you'll get to see some good information. So this is another great place to go to learn more about each site. So you'll see the site name. If they actually power an extended network, you'll see this little red cross next to their website. There are different features that ListHub has, like different filters that you can read about, and it shows which websites and how many of these features they meet, how many of their criteria, and there's an average broker rating also. Here are two of the formats of that channel scorecard that I mentioned earlier in the training, which is the report on the different features and attributes of the different websites. This scorecard flipbook that you can find here, this is like an online magazine format, so you can browse through the individual channel scorecards and read up more about each site. Or there is this scorecard comparison format, which is more like an Excel spreadsheet. So for any of you who maybe you want to count up the number of sites that accept commercial property or land listings or something like that, the scorecard comparison is kind of nice because that gives you that high-level comparison. And then also, if you want more information about the site individually, you can click on the link, the site name itself, and that'll take you to a publisher detail page. And this is where you can read the description on the website. You can, again, click here to view their extended network. You can see all of those ListHub features that they adhere to, and then also there is an individual scorecard that you can use. So if you just want to zone in right to Zillow and read more about them, they've got an individual scorecard for that website there in the publisher detail page. All right, lastly, I want to just talk about customer support. ListHub is a really, really easy service, but you are going to have questions. There may be some times when you're going to get a call from your seller and they say that they can't find their listing on a specific website. What do you do in those circumstances? Well, ListHub has online support and phone support available to you as an upgraded customer, and so you can access both. And what's great is no matter what website you experience an issue with, you can just use ListHub ListHub as your single point of contact, and we'll get it, we'll work with the different sites individually to get that correction for you. So to access support, you want to click on the support link in the upper right-hand corner. If you prefer online support, click the Request Support link there in blue. You'll get an online support form. Just type in your question. Please give us as much detail as possible. You're actually doing yourself a favor by doing that, because it'll help our guys just handle things in a more timely manner, as opposed to having to ask you questions to clarify, which takes longer. So please be as detailed as possible. Our typical support response time is within 1 business day, just so you're aware. If you prefer to talk with someone on the phone, you'll find the ListHub support phone number here under the first FAQ, and you'll find the hours of operation as well. I recommend that you just jot this number down someplace it's easy for you to find. We don't make this number easy to find. It's not on our homepage. It's not available to everyone. It's really only meant for those upgraded customers. And so, you can only find it here. Also, just be aware that they will ask you if you call for your ListHub username. So make sure you have that handy, just because they'll want to make sure you're an upgraded customer, and also just quickly be able to track your case history to help you in a timely manner as well. All right. And that wraps up our training today. I hope that you find that this is a really easy system to maneuver through. Again, I encourage you to, this is the heavy listing season right now, so I think that there are some great pieces that you can utilize to refresh your listing presentation, help you compete for those listings. And I really encourage you to get in and start using the tools. If you have questions, or you maybe want a little bit more information, please know that this training has been recorded. We'll distribute that to you. ListHub also has a YouTube page with some different short video tutorials that you're always welcome to access on your own time, so that's kind of convenient. And I've left the address here for you, so you've got it. And with that, I would like to open it up to questions from you all. If you have any, please go ahead and type your questions into the chat log or the Q&A. I think there were a couple that I missed earlier in the presentation, so I'll go back and go check those out. And then for those of you who have to take off, if you do not want to stay for questions, you don't have to. I thank you all very much for your time, and you're free to go. But for those of you who have questions and have time to hang out for questions, I'll go ahead and handle those now.